Hi everyone, this is Susie, and today we're going to be making nopales en mole rojo, and that is cactus in a mole sauce. It is spicy, just so you know, and here are the ingredients we will be using. I have some nopales, which is a cactus right here, this, and I have some onion, cilantro, chile guajillo, chile de arbol, garlic, cumin, oregano, cloves, salt and pepper, and we will be serving this alongside some oil-free refried beans, pinto beans, and I made some yesterday, some nopales yesterday, and this is what they look like, just so you guys can see the finished product. That is the nopales and a little bit of the cilantro that you see in there, and it's really delicious, you guys. Oh my god, if you like nopales, I think you're gonna like this recipe. If you've never had them before, I think it's a great recipe to try them with. And I think that's it. Let's get started. So the first thing that I do is I am going to grab my chile guajillos. We're going to need 4 of the chile guajillo. This is guajillo. And you find these pretty much at any store now. And I take off the stem. I rinse them really well because they are a little bit dusty. And then once I rinse them, I usually just cut them in half, or you can cut them with the scissors in case you're afraid that your fingers are going to be all, burning and stuff. And I just place them in here, and if you want this with a little bit of kick, you can add a 1 or 2 chile de arbol, and you would add that in here. Let's say this is clean and I have all my chiles in here, and what I like to do is I like to heat up some water. Just get some hot water, and then I just pour the water into my chiles just to cover them. So it would be maybe about a 1.5 cups of water or so, just to make sure all my chiles are covered. And then, let's say I have this here, because I already did this step previously. I will, once I have my water in there, I will grab a plate. I will put the plate on top of it just to make sure that all the chiles stay down in the hot water so that they soften up for me. And if you don't want to use the chile de arbol, the little one, you can always just use the hot sauce that I make, the picante hot sauce that I make, the homemade one. I have the video for that as well, and you would just add like a 1/2 teaspoon or so of that when we blend this up, okay? So you wouldn't add it to the soaking chiles, you would just add that later when we blend it up. Okay, so I have been soaking these for about 1/2 hour, and it can be anywhere from 1/2 hour to an hour, or you can just add regular water. It doesn't have to be hot water. Cover them up and leave them overnight, and they should be ready for you in the morning. And this is what our chiles look like, and I only did the guajillos, and it's about 4 of them. Okay, so while your chiles are soaking, then we go ahead and prepare the nopales, because it'll take about the same amount of time. And you can either buy your nopal like this, like whole, the whole penca. We call this a penca. And you can prepare it, yourself when you get home. Or they also sell these like already cubed. They sell them in these little bags where they cut them up for you. They take away all these little, what are these called? Like the ones they have in the roses, that they're like really pointy. Yeah, that. So they have them already ready for you, just for you to, like, maybe you rinse them out and then just cook them. They're ready to go. But I don't like to buy those because sometimes those are like they either use ones that are a little bit old, or they've been sitting there for a little too long and they don't taste as good or as fresh as these. So you want them to be like really green, nice and firm, not too wilted, or once they start getting too brown, then they're a little bit old. So what you do now is, because they do have these, what are they called? Oh my god, I don't remember what they're called. You know what I mean. So you grab a little, you'll do this over the sink or over the trash can, okay? And you just want to cut those off because you don't want that. Okay, so you're just going to cut all of those off. Make sure it doesn't have any more, and it'll be ready to go. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, so the other thing that I was going to tell you is that sometimes you will find these that have already been cleaned. They don't have any thorns. I think that's what you call them, thorns. And they're like packaged up really nicely, and they've already been dethorned. So you can buy those if they look, you know, nice and green still. Or like I say, you can just go buy them, but be very careful because usually I'll bag those separately and I will throw away whatever bag they come in because these little things are just like, yeah, you don't want any of that, okay, anywhere near your other food. So usually what I'd like to do is I will go in and I will kind of like cut in to each one, because even if you take it out like that, just like on the top, this little thing can sometimes, you know, keep a little bit of the thorn, so you don't want that. So I like to go in just to make sure. Have you seen what I'm doing? See what I'm doing? Yeah, just go in, like I will go into like each one of these like that. You know what I mean? And just take those out just to make sure nothing is in there. Even if it doesn't have anything, any thorns outside, I will still go back in there and try to remove the top. Okay? And then once this is done, we're just going to rinse them and be back. So to speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to start heating up the water where I'm going to cook my nopales. And I'm going to add the piece of onion. You can add white onion or red onion, either way, just a chunk. You can throw that in there. And a little bit of salt. I have like half a teaspoon of salt. You can add probably a little more. And also some fresh cilantro. What I like to do is I just grab my cilantro and I just tear it up in like 3 pieces like that, and I just throw that in there. So we're just gonna let that get hot, and then we're gonna put in our nopales in there, okay? Okay, so now I'm just going to slice my nopales, and I took off a little bit of the edge because it was a little dark and stuff. So the other thing is that if you do clean these in your sink, just make sure to put on some heavy-duty gloves or something so that when you clean out all the little thorns, you don't get poked, okay? So this is up to you. You can leave them as thick or as long as you like. I like them in small pieces because that's just how I like them, but it is up to you. So I usually just do this, and then I'll turn it around and just cut them in small chunks like this. Okay, you can go smaller or bigger, it's up to you, and I'm going to do the same with all 3, okay? Okay, so I cut up all of my nopales, and it is about 3 cups of the nopales, and we're just going to add this now to our water. Okay, so we're just going to give that a stir, and we're going to cook this for about 30 minutes or so. It takes about 30 minutes to cook completely, okay? So now we're going to prepare the mole, and I have 2 cloves of garlic. You can add more or less according to your taste. And now I'm going to transfer our soaked chiles. And because I didn't add the chile de árbol to the soaked chiles, I'm going to add a little bit of the hot sauce that I make, and it's about maybe half a teaspoon or so, but this is according to your taste, okay? I'm going to start with less because this is pretty spicy. All it is just the chile de árbol blended. If you want to see the video, I have it on YouTube as well. And you will add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cumin, or you can start with a little less if you're not a big fan of cumin. You don't want that much because it is pretty potent. And then less than 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground clove, so just like a tiny pinch, okay? Because this is also pretty strong. Start with less. Always start with less. And then about 1/2 teaspoon of salt or so. And we're just going to blend this up until pretty smooth, okay? So if it needs adjustment, if you want more garlic or more cumin or anything like that, then you would just, add that to your sauce. And then once you're done, once it's the way that you like it, we're going to strain this. And then I did reserve a little tiny bit of the liquid where we soaked our chiles, just so that I can rinse out my blender. And I'm just going to rinse this out and pour it in there and strain everything, okay? Okay, so we have our sauce here, and it is about 1.5 cups. And just a reminder that this sauce will stain, so if it touches your, white countertops or anything like that, it will stain, so be very careful with that. The other thing is that if you don't like nopales because of the texture of them, because they're a little bit slimy, as you may know already, then if you pressure cook your nopales, they will come out without any slime. So you can pressure cook them for about 10 minutes, and you would do the same thing. You can add the onion and the cilantro and the water and everything, and just pressure cook them for 10 minutes, and the salt as well. And that way you won't have that sliminess, the texture of the nopales. However, I did that once, and I didn't really care about the flavor. To me, it changed the flavor a little bit. They just tasted differently. So I don't mind them being a little bit slimy, but in case you do and you don't care that it changes the flavor of them, then just go ahead and pressure cook them, and it will take away the slime. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes, and this is what our nopales look like. And now I'm just going to turn them off because they're ready. And now I am going to heat my sauce, and I have a pan. It's dry, it has no oil, because I'm making this recipe oil-free as well. So now, because this has already, remember, we already strained this, so I'm just going to pour that in there. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Oh my god, it smells so good. Okay, and now at this point, this is where I add my freshly ground black pepper, and this is according to your taste, as much as you want. And then also I add a little bit of the Mexican dry oregano. Oops. And it'll be maybe about 1/4 teaspoon or so, okay? And I just smash it like that. Get the flavor out, and I'm just going to mix that in. And I'm warming up a little bit of my pinto beans as well to serve that. You just want to heat this through, maybe at this point, I don't usually even heat it through. At this point, what I do is I will just grab my nopales. And you're just going to strain. What I like to do is I keep the cilantro and the nopales. I don't usually add the onion, but you can if you want to. You can add the onion if you like. If not, you can just pick that out and throw it away. And you just want these really strained. You don't want to add any of the liquid to it. So you just strain it really well. Add it, and I'm going to add the whole thing in there, okay? Okay, so I poured all of the nopales in there in the sauce, and then it is starting to boil a little bit, to heat up. You can see. Like I say, I like leaving the cilantro in there because I like the cilantro. But you can take it out as well if you want. Or also you can add, if you take out that cilantro, you can add in fresh cilantro. But I like it like this. I think it gives it a really nice flavor. And doesn't that look delicious? Oh my goodness. That looks so delicious, you guys. Okay, so let's try it out. And there you have it. The nopales and the mole sauce. Ah! Focus! Focus! There you go. A little bit of beans, some cilantro just to garnish it a little bit, some tortilla, and let's dig in. As you may already know, I love eating with my tortilla just like that. So usually I will just take in a little bit of beans and a little bit of the nopales just like that. Oh my goodness. so good. So good. And just before I forget, this recipe came from my very good neighbor, Estela. And she's the one that gave me this recipe. So I just wanted you guys to know, okay? I did not come up with this deliciousness. So I hope you guys try it and like it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.